Well, thank you. First of all, I think we should give Delta Strategy a real hand of applause for bringing us all together. Connie, you all have done a great job, and it's really terrific. What we've just experienced, I think, and I got to experience a little of it, is really the tip of the iceberg on where we need to go. Beginning to think about strategies. I know money is important, but we cannot wait on the money. I was sitting back in the back, and I calculated that while we've been here, 2,000 students dropped out of high school while we've been here this afternoon. So that's about, we're estimating anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 drop out every day. So the immediacy of this is, down home and personal. Let me just go through a couple of very quick points, and that is, why was this so important for us to get together? Why? Anybody?
Because it doesn't happen.
Because it doesn't happen. And so I would hope that you would pick up on this suggestion that there are free copies of Community Council available, and take those back to where you work, or your church, or your synagogue, or your mosque, or wherever you see people, and begin to get other people knowing about this. The way ideas get on the public agenda is that people feel a sense of urgency. Feel a sense of urgency. A lot of times we hear it in very explosive terms in the media, but people need to know that these are real people that we are losing every day, not just in dropouts, but in many other ways. The second thing is about translators. I think we've got to think about the role that the public can play. I hope that your suggestions were not just what nonprofits and governments are going to do. That we've got to think about how we get Miss Emma that lives on the street that always kind of watches out for things. How do we get those people back into this? They've always taught kids what to do. They've always. Now, where are they? And how can we begin to involve them in a different way? We heard from Wynn about Grand Rapids Reads. I hope that we won't reinvent the wheel. There are some places that you could put your time and attention that would really make a difference. Milt told us about, it's the FACTS program, isn't it, Milt? Where are you, Milt? There are things going on to plug in, and I think if you'll remember, for those of you who were there at lunch, part of it is in the asking people to do what you need them to do and why. I'd encourage you. The jobs for the future. Reading and writing is real important for any job for the future. So, I'm all for finding out what the new jobs are, but these soft skills that Larry mentioned, a lot of the kids, I hear this all the time in communities, they don't have any skills for the phone. They can't answer the phone. They can't interact with people day to day. They have no idea how to act in the soft skills. So, if we could just do three things, teach them how to read, teach them how to do a little math, and teach them how to be nice to everybody else, there'd be, links ahead. But I don't want to minimize, skill. I'm not trying to do that. But I'm saying, let's start where we are and move forward. Let's start where we are. I spoke to a group of community college presidents not too long ago, and I said one of the big jobs is medical translation, transcription and translation. We're expecting 8,000 new jobs in that field. Do you know, with computers, that's going to be extinct? So we're going to train all these people to be medical transcribers, and it's all going to be on computer the year after they learn it. So I don't want to, again, I think we've got to think broadly in this idea of getting liberal arts skills. Now, I will say this about the health. The other thing you need for a job is good health and good health practices and access to health. The leading pediatric health problem is tooth decay. More kids miss school because of tooth decay than anything else. That's something we can do something about. What are the blinking yellow lights in this community? And this would go across, I think, across all your issues. Truancy is a big one. If a kid misses 85% of the days in middle school, he or she has an exponential chance to be dropping out. So that's a red flag. We know that, a yellow light. Juvenile crime. Why do you think your crime rate is up higher than the national average here? It's because you have a high dropout rate. You've got too many kids on the street. The two are related. The two are related. We mentioned fourth grade scores. Here's the deal. Do you want to have this same meeting next year? We want a different kind of meeting, Connie. We want an action meeting. Now, Connie and Steve and their colleagues can produce another community counts for you, and you can hear it one more time. But I would encourage you to think about where you want to be this time next year. And if you say 5 kids, if you get 5 fourth graders to read better, if you get 10, if you get 20, you pick the number. But it would seem to me that we've been having these same conversations in communities across the country. The test scores have basically, they've gone up a little, you know, we brag a little back and forth, but basically nothing has changed in the last 25 years. So the question is this is our watch, and what are we going to do? I just want to conclude by, one, congratulating you and thanking you for being here. This was a big time commitment. I hope that you will figure out among yourselves, those of you who work in the same areas, why can't you begin to get together and figure out how this happens? It's only breakfast, you know, or it's only lunch or brown bag or something. But I think nothing is going to happen. There's not going to be a mayor elected. There's not going to be a school board elected. There's not going to be an administrator elected or selected. It's not coming in that direction. It's only coming, I think, from the public. Otherwise, it would have already been solved by somebody. These are big issues. Again, these are the community issues that came to school. So working on poverty, working on these other critical health issues, a range of things is going to make a difference. Don't stop. I'll tell you one story. You know I always have one. Larry said, do we know anything that will help fourth graders? Now, I'm real big on free things, real big on free things. For me, not for other people, but I'm big on it for me. And somebody was telling me this story. There were a group of fourth grade children, third graders really, who could not, or were not reading up to scale. And this little community in North Carolina had absolutely no money. They were waiting on a federal grant. And guess what? The federal grant didn't come. So one energetic librarian decided to create this program called Read to the Dog. And so they got a seeing eye dropout, one of those that didn't make it. And they brought the seeing eye dropout into the library. And this librarian, very, very meager resources, found every book she could find on dogs. And she invited every third grader in the community, not just the ones who weren't reading well, but every third grader, to come on Saturday morning and read to the dog. And so they would pick a book and read it to the dog. And one little boy picked a book that was too hard for him. So instead of saying, you've picked a book that's too hard for you, let me get you another book, the librarian said, he doesn't like that book. He's never liked that book. And so she said, you better pick out a book that he really likes, and I'm going to show you some that he particularly likes. So the little boy, you know the fast forward, he picked out the book, and on cue, the dog's ears went up just as he started reading. Now, why am I telling you that story? I'm telling you to say we can't stop. We can't stop. And we can figure out ways, like the reading to the dog, that we get kids what they need. And so I would just encourage you to be creative, use your common sense. This is not brain surgery here. This is not brain surgery. When they start in kindergarten, they look alike. Some of them are at different levels, but they are thinking, they're bright-eyed, they're bushy-tailed, they're ready to go. And what happens to them in the system, of all systems, is what we're worried about here. So the future of Grand Rapids is these children that you're thinking, and their families. And so being able to really address that is what I would encourage you to do. Good luck, safe travels home, and I look forward to being here next year and hearing your action agendas. Thank you.